Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. Nearly 1 in 5 Kenyan youths battle depression. More than 44% of youths reported persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness in the first half of 2021. The early 2022 report, which was based on an online survey, also found that nearly 20% had seriously considered suicide and 9% attempted suicide. But parents can help by communicating openly, creating a behavior contract, and finding low-pressure opportunities to interact with their children. The COVID-19 pandemic is a likely contributor to these startling figures, but rates of teen mental illness have been rising over the past decade. Meet Christopher Ndambuki. He's been living with depression, a mental condition that he says prevented his suicide attempt.
So nilijaribu commit suicide when I saw all the hardship that my parents are passing through. Saa hiyo hardship ilinipatia a lot of stress, thinking too much, alafu sina kazi, niko hapo. So nashindwa what to do next after that. Saa hiyo kukaa idle ndo inaleta hiyo mafikiro ya suicide. Nikaona the only option I can do is just to hang myself.
After gathering himself, he proceeded to tell me a graphic account of how he attempted to end his life.
Nikaanza kuchagua options, which one is better and which one is not. So nikaangalia pills, nikaona pills inaweza kosa kuwa, kuna overdose alafu unapatwa tu hapo. Nikaona pills siwezi. So nikaona the only option I can do ni hang myself. So nikaenda nikanunua kamba, nikagonja ile time yenye hakuna mtu ako home, and I tried. So nika make sure hakuna mtu anakam. So kuchukua, nikatengeneza, nika kwa shingo, nikafungilia kwa ceiling. Sana nikajaribu, but kumbe my mom alikuwa anajua what I've been going through. Naona hapo anateseka, bado na keep the distance. Kabidi tu amekuja kanipata on the deed, kaniokoa.
Hiyo siku nilikuwa nimetoka shughuli zangu, na nikirudi kwa nyumba tu hivi nilipata kijana akitaka kujinyonga. Nikashindwa kwa nini kijana anajinyonga, nikamtoa, nikamkalisha chini, na vile tulikaa chini na yeye akanielezea shida zake, akanielezea ni kwa nini. So nikaangalia, nikaona yenyewe nimekuwa bali na mtoto wangu, na nimekuwa nikifikiria mambo zingine za kutafuta kuliko mtoto wangu. So nikaangalia, nikaona wacha niendelee kukaa na mtoto wangu na nikae naye vizuri, na nijaribu kurekebisha ile yote yenye nimekosea, ili mtoto wangu asitake ama asifikirie kujiua tena. Na ningeomba wazazi wenye wako na watoto wako na depression, unaangalia mtoto wako, unaona kuna vile ana behave wenye huelewi, ni vizuri kukaa chini na hao watoto, uongee na mtoto wako kila wakati, utake kujua mtoto wako ni shida gani anapitia, na ukue rafiki ya mtoto wako. Kwa maana ukikuwa rafiki ya mtoto wako, mtoto hatafikiria mambo zingine kama za kujiua ama kukutumia dawa. Then urudi upeleke mtoto kwa counseling, mtoto akansoliwe, ndio huyo mtoto aendelee kuheal na aendelee vizuri.
One crucial factor that has received little attention in mental health is the role that parents play. As we have heard from Christopher's mother, be there for your child. Be able to guide the child on whatever he or she is going through. And if it becomes difficult, kindly seek counseling services. Seek the help of a psychiatrist, the help of a psychology in knowing whatever your child is going through. Meet a renowned psychologist who will take us through the guidelines and the things we need to know on how to deal with suicide and how to deal with suicidal thoughts as well.
My name is Paul Karanja, a psychologist, and deal with different issues affecting the human life in the area of mental health. And today I'm here to talk about suicide because it's an issue that is affecting many people in our society today. And even looking at the report from the World Health Organization, almost every year 1 million people they die because of suicide-related issues. And basically, I would like to start by demystifying what is suicide. And in very simple terms, suicide, it is a desperate attempt by an individual to escape some kind of suffering or pain. And so, as they are trying to escape from the pain or the suffering, it results to death. And it's one important thing to remember is that any suicidal person, they don't want to die, but they are trying to look for a way of escaping from a pain, from suffering. But then, since they don't have any other way of escaping that pain, they think the only way out is taking away their lives. But if you sit down with a person who is suicidal, you learn that they love life, they would like to live. So if you offer another alternative way of dealing with the pain, they will not take suicide as an option. And so from a very basic point of view is, when you have to understand the issue of suicide, just know that it is that an attempt of that person, an individual, trying to escape from pain, from stress, from suffering, and they think or they feel the only way out is through taking their lives. So that is basically what I can say about suicide. And any suicidal person, and this is important both to parents and even to caregivers, how would you identify or locate some signals that someone has suicidal thoughts? Because one thing that we should all know is that any suicidal person will show some signs. On very rare occasion that someone will just wake up one day and take away his or her life, but they will show some signs. And so if we are informed about how to identify some of those signs, we can prevent an event where someone will take away his or her life. And one of the ways that we can identify that someone has suicidal thoughts, it is that they will start talking about death. In your conversations, they are mentioning about death or dying through verbal conversations. Or like in our current, we have social media issues. You find them posting, maybe on Facebook or Twitter, they are posting things about death, discussion about death, dying. That can be an indication that someone has suicidal thoughts. The other way that you can use as a signal that someone is having the suicidal thoughts, it is you find them, they start having an interest in things that can cause harm to a physical body. Someone all of a sudden has started talking about guns, like in those societies where they have freedom to carry guns. So they have some interest in guns. They want to know the various types of guns. Even they started posting photos of guns in their social media platforms. Or they start asking about some drugs, and the drugs mostly that are used for suicide purposes. And so you may find someone is trying to find out, how can I get such a certain drug? Where can I purchase this type of drug? If you see certain signs, then you'll be able to know this person has some thoughts that can lead to physical harm or even death. The other sign that you can learn from someone who is having suicidal thoughts, it is some kind of abrupt change in behavior, like withdrawal syndrome. Someone just withdraws from the society. He was a talkative person, but all of a sudden he just withdraws. He wants to spend time alone, and when you try to engage him, they are not lively, but that is not their nature. So those are some of the signs and indicators that you can learn this person is having some kind of suicidal thoughts. Something else is that someone just becomes to have some behavior that they didn't have, like excessive alcohol, or maybe use of drugs that the person was not using there initially. And you realize that this person has so many signs of hopelessness. Even in your conversations, there is no talk that is showing that he is interested in the future. You know, that they are not even taking care of themselves. Self-care is an indication that a person could be having suicidal thoughts. Maybe someone was neat, used to dress well, used to keep his or her hair neat, but all of a sudden the person just changes. She does not take care about her face, her hair, even the clothes. They're just hopeless. So those are some of the indicators that can help you to identify that someone has suicidal thoughts. And so even as parents, even teachers or caregivers, or even pastors in our churches, or even friends, if you have a friend and you start seeing any of those signs, it is high time that you take note of the same and find a way how you can assist that person. Because always remember, there's no suicidal person who will just wake up one day and commit suicide. There will be signs, and if you are careful to learn about them, we can help them. Having now understood the signs that we can identify in individuals who are suicidal, now it is important for us to understand how can we prevent suicide, because suicide is preventable. Because suicide is the last step, it's the last stage that a person who has been going through those either depression or stress. So it can be prevented before we get to that last phase. Now we have a person becoming suicide. Now, one of the things that you need to do is to talk about it. Sometimes you may wonder, if I raise the issue, I have seen a sign or an indicator that this person is suicidal, he has some behaviors that can lead to suicide. As an individual, what am I supposed to do? The first thing is talk about it. And as you talk about it, you have to talk about it from a point of care. Do not appear as if you are attacking that person. Don't blame him or her, but allow that person to feel safe. As you talk about it, you talk about it from a point of view of help. Make that person feel that you are there to help. Don't keep quiet. If you see any of those signs, approach that person in a friendly way and ask him, there's such and such a thing I've been seeing. Could you be having any problem? Can we talk about it? So let that person feel that he or she is in a safe environment. But one thing I would like to put as a word of caution is that when you're trying to help someone who is suicidal, do not go there to offer help like you are giving him exactly what to do. Remember, you are advising that person. Make him feel he or she is in control. That whatever you are guiding him or her is to allow her to connect with him or herself. Don't go there to give direction. Do A, B, C. No. Be there, be present, show care, show concern, and let that person feel that he or she is at ease with you. The other thing that we need to know to prevent suicide is to respond quickly. Sometimes you may see your friend has posted something on maybe Facebook, and from the way the post is like the person he or she is communicating something. Don't just assume it and just like or just say if kama umechoka na maisha just it's your life. No, act and act quickly. It is always good to be your brother and your sister keeper. Just be there for if you see any sign, any indicator. Please, let's always be very fast and quick to respond to such. Then the other thing that we need to know to prevent suicide is to offer help. Remember I said, the reason why a person will commit suicide, it is because deep within them they feel and they are convinced that within them there is no other way out of that suffering or that pain. So if we want to help them, let's offer alternatives. Yes, they are going through pain. They have been going through rejection. They have gone through maybe torture. They have gone maybe through even like abuse. So let them know that there is an alternative way of escaping that suffering and that pain that does not involve taking away their lives. Be there to offer support. You can suggest that they can see a therapist, a psychologist. Sometimes they require maybe a medical expert concerning the area of mental health. So be there to offer help. And as you're doing that, you do it in a way that the person will feel safe, because help is present, support is present, and there are many other alternative ways of dealing with pain, dealing with any suffering. So if you want to prevent any kind of suicide in our society, let's always be ready as caregivers, as parents, even as pastors, even in our churches, because suicide is preventable. There are solutions. There are support systems that we can have to help such people to overcome all those challenges. So let's always remember, speak, and you speak immediately when you notice there is any sign of an indicator that can lead to suicide. Respond quickly, offer help and support to such people.
If passing suicidal thoughts become more intrusive and frequent, be able to seek help, be able to open up, be able to speak to someone. As we have heard from our psychologist, Mr. Paul, there is no harm in talking out your problems and in speaking out. For this news feature, I'm Ida Mundia.